Oppenheimer is one of those movies that bring the world together. They make the world a better place. And what I mean by they is movies that typically Christopher Nolan makes. It's a different level of type of shit when Christopher Nolan is making the goddamn movie. Originally going into Oppenheimer and watching the movie, I thought it was going to be amazing, right? But I didn't think it would be in my top 5 or top 4 or top 2. And to be honest with you, it's definitely on those tops. Not only did Cillian Murphy straight up kill it, but I honestly can't even lie to you guys. This movie has to be probably the best movie this year and in the last couple of years too. The only movies I can compare it to is essentially The Batman and The Joker, and that's like literally the only movie I can compare it to within the last couple of years that have released. Obviously, The Joker had this very insane Joker, this very realistic, almost sci-fi drama type of Joker that I think everybody enjoyed and loved, to be honest with you, since we have seen Heath Ledger's Joker, of course.
How about a lie? You wanna know how I got these scars? My father was a drinker and a fiend. And one night, he goes off crazier than usual. Mommy gets the kitchen knife to defend herself. He doesn't like that. Not one bit. So, me watching, he takes the knife to her, laughing while he does it. He turns to me and he says, "Why so serious?" Why so serious? Now, our operation is small, but there's a lot of potential.
But Oppenheimer gave me a different type of vibe. It didn't give me a type of vibe where the world is gonna end. It gave me a type of vibe where it's like, holy fuck, this actually happened. Like people were actually sitting in this goddamn headquarters, shooting the nuke and expecting to just destroy the entire world, yet they still launched it. And it kind of scares you because if they decided to do that back then, what makes them not want to do it now? Seriously, like if they created a bigger nuke and they had to test it, why the fuck would they just not shoot it? Right? Because if somebody as smart as Oppenheimer can make that decision, imagine somebody else who's probably not going to be as smart as Oppenheimer, to be completely honest with you, because there's a difference between creating the atomic bomb and creating a more powerful atomic bomb, especially when the atomic bomb has already been created now. Like for a very long time, it's been invented. I just remember being on the edge of my seat when the nuke was about to go off and it was saying three, two, one, and I was like, "Holy shit, it's going off! Oh my god!" And then I also remember like particular moments where they were just talking and Cillian Murphy would just make those fucking devil eyes that he usually makes. He's infamous for making, and I was just like, "Holy fuck! What is going on in here, this motherfucker?" I'm not even joking. It was getting really intense. Like you could see Oppenheimer and how he was feeling in the moment. If any of you guys watched the interviews, which I 100% recommend you guys do, if any of you guys have watched the interviews, you guys have probably seen Oppenheimer when he's getting interviewed. He kind of fades into unexistence. He's just like, "What the hell's going on? What am I doing here? Seriously, genuinely, what the fuck am I doing here?" Cillian Murphy fucking killed that type of, feeling that Oppenheimer gave off in his interviews that he had. It was like the world was crumbling and falling apart, and he was anxious, and he didn't know what to do, and he was just saying a bunch of shit. I mean, how could you know what to do when people were questioning you about how you killed 40,000 people in Nagasaki? Like, you can't exactly answer that in the most polite, politically right way possible. You just can't. In terms of the overall performance of people like Robert Downey Jr. and, of course, Cillian Murphy, I can't even lie. They had some of the best performances of all time. Like Robert Downey Jr. did a great job playing this character named Strauss, who is a real life person, of course, and playing kind of the conservative of the group, and Cillian Murphy playing the liberal, which I was a little bit pissed to find out that Oppenheimer was a liberal, but whatever. Back then, liberal was a completely different thing. People weren't saying this gender exists, that gender exists. And again, even that, I would even call myself a liberal to some extent, because it's like there's a difference between a leftist liberal and somebody that's like radical liberal, and then somebody that, of course, is just a liberal, right? There's a difference there. And of course, is a conservative. He believes in traditional ways and traditional thoughts, and that's why he was a little bit iffy during Oppenheimer's incognito moments in the film, where he was kind of like Should I do that? Should I do this? And that's a thing about Oppenheimer, right? Because he knows what he's capable of doing. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's building. He knows he's building an abomination. He could very well be building a thing that can end humanity, right? He knows what he is doing. And multiple times, Strauss says that the only reason why Oppenheimer is building this nuclear holocannon weapon is because he wants to be famous, because he wants to be the man that did that. And now, whether you see it that way or not, it's completely utterly up to you. Cillian Murphy sure as hell didn't portray somebody like that. He just portrayed somebody that was more or less just trying to do the right thing, but trying to protect his country. And he just seemed like a very nice guy. That's what Cillian Murphy, he typically plays people like that if he isn't playing Thomas Shelby. But Thomas Shelby also isn't like that, though. He isn't somebody that's trying to get famous or popular. He's trying to be very low key and trying to do the right thing for his family. He cares about his family. And Cillian Murphy has that halo and that majestic glow around him that always personifies that theme. And this isn't one of those movies that were just milking the shit out of another person that was more relevant. Like, for example, when they introduced Einstein, it didn't seem like they were pulling a She-Hulk. It didn't seem like they were just introducing a more relevant, popular person and trying to make that person the main character in the movie. It didn't seem like that. It just seemed like they introduced Einstein because it was necessary for the plot, and it made a lot of sense. Overall, the movie was an absolutely fantastic movie. If I had to choose to tell you guys to watch it or to not watch it, I would tell you, do you like history? And if your response is yes, I love history, this is the movie for you, brothers and sisters, because this movie, it's the whole goddamn 9 yards. It's just history, math, science, all put into a beautiful piece of scripture, and of course, acting. It's just all put into a conjunction, which eventually formulates that of a movie, and it's just a gracious piece of art. Really, it just is fucking great, man.